So we did a big data analysis of this thing. So there's a ton of near me queries. This is SEMrush data for various near me queries. It's millions a month. And this is happening, right, because Google both has it, kind of forces it in Google Suggest. And if you're on a phone, it also tends to show you force near me queries when you do a search from a phone. So there's a lot of traffic to be had targeting near me queries, if in fact targeting near me queries works. So what we did was we have access to some software that basically can measure the significance, the statistical significance of large data sets. And so, and we work with Traject Data, which is basically a rank tracking or SERP tracking company. And so we basically looked at queries in 100 different cities across 10,000 search results. And we put all this data into our system to measure the significance of near me in the results titles. And the way that works is it looks at all the data in a SERP. It doesn't have all the data about every site. It just has all the data in the SERP. So the title, the snippets, the URL, and the rankings. And then it kind of comes back and says, this is what's important, this is what's not. And so this is what we found. The big blue bars or teal bars or whatever that color is, that's significance. And the red one means it's not significant. And so the bigger the blue bar, the more significant it is. So the number one factor, or at least the most significant factor, is has the city where the searcher is located in the title. So for near me query. So, and if you look down this list, I'm not going to read all of them. We'll give this to you afterwards so you can go through all of them. But what we really were interested in was how significant is it to have the words near me in the title tag. And what you can see, there's some significance. The kind of middle set of results in here are all contains near me or near. And so what we found is that actually, yes, putting near me in the title tag can work, but it's far more important to have the city where the user is located for near me. So not necessarily where they're searching, but where they're located, because near me implies it's near me. We also noticed that having overly long title tags was a slightly negative factor. You'll see a lot of SEO tools and SEO gurus say, hey, you need to have you can't have a title tag over, let's say, 65 characters or something. But that's, in general, we found that to be false over time. It's only if you want the whole title tag to display in a search result on a desktop, pretty much. But what we found is you can have super long title tags and they rank just fine. Not for every query, but they're fine. But for near me queries, it seems to be a slight negative. We also just tried things where we changed the title. So like we took a home care services company and we added the city and state to their title tag. And what you can see is that instantly improved their rankings. These aren't necessarily for near me queries, but totally makes sense. It's kind of a duh. Like, yeah, add the geo information to your title tags and you're good. When we added the city and state identifiers to the page title, we saw an instant bump in rankings for near me queries. So again, not necessarily that you have to use near me in the title tag, although it couldn't hurt, but you definitely have to add the city and you should probably add the state. For this little study, the takeaway is really the best title tag contains a city and a state in it, using also the words near. You don't have to say near me, you can say near you. You can just say near the city. One thing to note for near me queries is it's very hard to overcome searcher location. So if you're 10 miles away from the searcher and they're doing near me search, and there's a lot of competitors in between you and them, you're less likely to rank for that versus if you're very close to that searcher. You have to take in. So we have this conversation with clients all the time where they're like, oh, I want to rank for #1 of X in city. And we're like, hey, it's a big city. You're going to rank #1 for that close to your location. But the farther away you get from your location, you're less like it's going to be more challenging because someone else is going to rank for that because they're closer to that location. targeting near me queries can work, but it may not be effective if the target user is not currently in your city. There's also some very obvious ways to set up your pages to target near me queries. So as an example, adding internal linking to the page you're targeting with near in the anchor text, using near in the copy of the page. And this is like the canonical or a canonical version of a near me page. This is what we'll call a national near me page on DoorDash. You can see the title tags as restaurants near me. The URL is restaurants near me. The H1 is restaurants near me. It has some geo-targeted information in the middle. But Google is going to see probably Mountain View where I see Pleasanton. So that kind of stuff is not necessarily relevant. And you can see at the bottom right, or actually, yeah, the bottom right, they're like totally like spamming the anchor text with near me. TripAdvisor also has a page like this that was probably the first big page I saw in Google for a big site that did this kind of thing. And it's funny, it's the same page as it was 7 years ago, just looks a little, the colors are different. So you should check those out.
Now, if you liked this ClearScope webinar snippet, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more great tips and strategies from the industry's best SEOs and content marketers. Make sure to check out the ClearScope YouTube channel for more great content.